Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. This is a vlog of basically me learning to unmask my autism and ADHD ever since I got my diagnosis a little over 2 years ago. Today I'm wearing my fuzzy microphone because I've got my space heater down at my feet and I'm hoping the space heater won't come through the sound of this video because it's really cold. Okay, so I don't know about you. I'm guessing it's probably some version of a similar, but the last like 5 to 7, 8 days has been extremely stressful. Especially if you're a U.S. citizen or if you are affected by U.S. politics at all, which unfortunately is a lot of the world, and I am so sorry for that for you if you are in a different part of the world that is affected by our insanity. No, this is not going to be a political video, other than the fact, sorry, ADHD, someone is walking by my window, other than the fact that I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the stress that I was feeling the last week due to the political climate. So, last week, for a lot of Americans, we were very upset about the potential TikTok ban, and it was so stressful because the news kept changing, like almost hour by hour, especially as it got on later in the week, because the deadline for the ban was supposed to be January 19th. And so it was like, yes, it is going to be banned. No, it's not. It will be upheld. There will be an executive order. Like, Biden's going to do an order. No, he's going to make Trump do the order. And it was just like crazy. And it's, like I said in my previous video, if you're not on TikTok, it's hard to explain. But I find a quote from my college makes a lot of sense. From the outside looking in, it's hard to understand. And from the inside looking out, it's hard to explain. And TikTok just really is a very special app that has created community, and it's created a way for us to share ideas very quickly and come together. It also spreads a lot of misinformation very quickly. So you have to be aware, which I do understand that is problematic. But one of the biggest things is that so many Americans rely on TikTok to support their small businesses, make it so that they can, work from home, to supplement an income, all these different things. And so to take that away, and also what we were feeling was like an extreme censorship of our speech by our government, is very alarming. And I am not monetized on TikTok, but I do get a lot of value ever since I have been very active on the app. So I was following along with all of this, and my ADHD, autistic brain hyperfixated on it. And so I was also, and because it felt like, your favorite TV show series that you've been following for a while, like it was ending, or there was just like this thing where it was like a lot of us, I know I wasn't the only one, probably binged a lot of TikTok on Thursday and Friday. It was like we're just trying to consume it. And that kind of was wearing my brain down. I knew I was really spending too much time on the app, but I also knew that it might be gone forever. So I kind of justified it. And, so after Friday, on Friday, SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, issued and said that they were going to uphold the law that, again, a lot of Americans feel is violating or censoring our speech. So we're still trying to fight that. But right after that, and I was crying with a lot of other Americans, I was crying about that. And again, it's not just because of the app, but because of what that signifies, that SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States of America, unanimously, with bipartisan support from Congress and our executive branch, banned an app before they've done anything about creating, putting equal rights amendment into the actual Constitution. Like, it's almost there, but it's not actually there. Banning assault rifles, providing universal health care, working more on the infrastructure of our country. Like, there's a million things that are way more important than banning and censoring an app, because they kept talking about national security. But then now, when Trump got in yesterday, he was like negotiating a deal where he would only sell 50%. Well, it's either about national security or it's not, right? So I was really stressed about that. I was crying about the implications of SCOTUS doing what it did. And then that afternoon, I got a text message from a very close friend that said she needed to end our friendship. And this is a tale as old as time for me as an autistic woman. And it, started another round of tears. I was very, very upset. And the thing is that before my diagnosis, a lot of my friendships ended very abruptly, either with being ghosted or like a big kind of like final. As an adult, a lot of friendships kind of, people will just drift apart. And I do have that. Like, I've had friendships that kind of drifted apart. I know that I had a really close friend that when I lived in Texas, I was very, very close. But when I moved to Washington, we kept in touch for a while and we drifted apart. But if I was to run into her again, like, it would be like, oh my gosh, how are you? But no hard feelings. Like, we just drifted apart. But I've had so many of my friendships where it was like, Amanda, you are too much, or you are like, all the things that are autistic traits, right? You're this, you're that, you're this. I can't, deal with you anymore, or whatever. And before my diagnosis, it was really hard and I didn't understand. Now I understand that, a lot of people struggle with being friends with an autistic person for a variety of reasons. I think that for me, one reason is that when I'm friends with somebody, I really want to get very close with them. I consider my close friends more like a lot of people would consider family. And, but for other people, friends aren't that close. And so that is very hard for a lot of people to deal with me. And it's, ends up just being kind of mismatched expectations, because I'm extremely loyal and I'm very, like, I try to get really close to my friends. Like, like I said, like, I see friends as almost like family. And so in this case, I don't want, again, because I'm very loyal and I want to respect this person. I'm not going to say this. Hold on. Two things can be true at once, right? I can be extremely, deeply, deeply hurt, and at the same time still respect this person as a human and as a former friend, right? Like, the way our friendship ended doesn't negate all of the wonderful time that we had spent together. And again, I don't want to give too many details, but like, she did text me, and I know why she did. She knows that because I'm autistic, that it takes me a while to respond to news like that. So, at the end of the text, she did say, she's open to talking to me to, like, I guess, help me get closure, which she didn't have to do. And, a lot of people would have said, oh, why didn't she do it in person? Or why didn't she do it over the phone or a video chat? And again, I think it was because she really did want to give me time to digest the news so that I could form a response. And so I, again, like, dang it, she's thoughtful in that way. Like, it wasn't, for most people who aren't autistic, a friendship breakup in person or over the phone is probably the proper way to do it. But for me, it did help because when I opened the text message and I just saw, because it was really long, and I just saw, I can't continue this friendship. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why. I'm going to keep that private. But it felt like a sucker punch to the gut. And I will say it is circumstantial why she wanted to end their friendship. It wasn't anything that I did or that she did. But it felt like a gut punch. Now, I was kind of expecting it because I don't like it when other people use the word autistic spidey sense, but when an autistic person owns it, it makes sense. So my autistic spidey sense had already kind of picked up on the fact that she was pulling away and that something was afoot. But I wasn't sure if it had to do with me or if it had to do with other people in her life, and that she was just like backing away from everybody for a minute while she figured some stuff out that was going on. But I kind of suspected, I pattern recognition. I've had it where this pattern, and I can pretty much pinpoint when she decided to kind of like, no, I need to end this. Because she started just acting a little different and responding to texts a little bit different. And so I wasn't shocked because a part of me did see it coming. I had hoped I was wrong. I had hoped that the CPTSD that was triggering in my head where friends do this, that means that they don't want to be my friend anymore, was wrong. And it was the other option. It was, friends have done this in the past, but this person isn't going to do this. She's responding this way because she's dealing with other things in her life. And not everything's about you, Amanda, right? Like, I was trying to tell myself that. But no, my spidey senses were right. So while I wasn't shocked, I was sad and hurt and a little angry. Like, so many emotions. I actually pulled up, I'll put a picture of it right here. It's from feelingwheel.org or com, I don't remember, to help me kind of like sort through my feelings. But anyway, then that night I didn't respond to her right away because I did want time to digest and think about like how I wanted to respond. Because her last sentence was like, if you want to talk about it. So I could have asked her for, a video chat or something, or meet up or whatever. But I decided I just wanted to send an email because ultimately I'm not going to try to convince anybody that they need to be my friend. I'm not going to try to convince other people that I'm worth fighting for. They either see that I'm valuable and that I'm worth fighting for as a friend, and that circumstances don't always need to stand in the way, or I'm not that important to them. And if I'm not that important to them and I'm not that valuable to them, then I'm not out to try to convince other people anymore. Pre-diagnosis, I would basically like almost, not quite, but basically beg people to be my friend. And so that is, I've come a long way since my diagnosis and understanding relationship dynamics through the lens of autism. And I know that my friends are out there Um, you know, she isn't my only friend. I've been making new friends. And I now get to focus my energy and time on people who are doing the same, reciprocating the energy. So while I seem like I'm not super upset, because a lot of times, autistic faces don't really show the emotion they're feeling inside, I am very devastated by the loss of this friendship, because I think she is somebody who's worth fighting for, but I am going to respect the boundary that she put up, because I respect her. And I respect myself in the fact that, again, like I said, I'm done. I'm literally done trying to prove to people that I'm worth being a friend to, because I know my value. I know what I have to contribute to a friendship. And if that doesn't fit somebody else, then you can't make them see that, right? And ultimately, two people have to be compatible and want to be in each other's lives for any kind of relationship to work. So that happened Friday afternoon, like I said, right after, like a couple hours after SCOTUS. The timing of it really did kind of upset me, because even though she's not on TikTok, she knows that I am. And I feel like it was in the news enough that she probably should have been aware of it. But I also get that a lot of people who aren't on TikTok really didn't understand how upset the people who are on TikTok were. We are still. And they don't realize, I don't think sometimes, especially the speech part of it, like, I wish every single American was waking up to how much the government is censoring us right now. I had to, TikTok did come back the next day, and I had like a bunch of community guideline strikes where a bunch of my comments had been deleted from the app. And it was like, oh my gosh. And so I created another video where I censored my words. I said the orange pumpkin instead of like insurrection, which I don't know if YouTube censors as much, but I said kerfuffle. So like I had to like censor some words, and that video actually got views. So yeah, the US government is doing that. And then, of course, the Orange Menace took office yesterday, which of course was extremely stressful. And then what Elon Musk did was extremely scary. And the fact that people were trying to say that it was because he had Asperger's, which again, just the irony of that, because Hans Asperger was a Nazi. And we don't use the term Asperger's anymore. I do know that there are some people in the community who were officially diagnosed with Asperger's, and they still use that term because change is hard for autistic people, and they got their diagnosis before 2013. But most people don't use the word Asperger's. And so for people to be like, oh, he just has Asperger's. No, absolutely not. If he's low support needs enough to be this like billionaire rich dude, he knows what gestures mean, okay? Even a high support needs autistic person, when they're really happy, they don't usually like do the Nazi salute, okay? Jazz hands. Yeah, we jazz hands a lot when we're happy. We flap. We do that kind of thing. We don't just hail the other guy, right? So that rhetoric needs to be taken down so quickly. Yeah, that's kind of what my last week has been. what I've been doing to try to mitigate that stress is I have been focusing on positive ways that I can be an activist. And I posted some videos on TikTok. I'm only going to like try to talk about politics in as much as how it makes me feel and affects me and affects my autistic brain on this channel. Because politics right now is kind of a hyper focus. Stick around because hyper focus can come and go. But also on my TikTok and my other, Blue Sky and stuff like that, I'm doing a little bit more like actual activism and like showing people how to write letters to congressmen and congresspeople. So having that outlet for my stress is one way that I'm trying to help mitigate my stress. I've been working on a daily journal again because I haven't done that in many years. And I'm trying to work on focusing on getting my physical therapy more regularly in, which is, I'm noticing a difference, so that's good. Continue reading my books and trying to check in with my friends and just really appreciate and value them more. So, and be more present when I'm talking with my friends and my family. Oh my gosh, and one more thing else that I did. I almost forgot. I cannot believe I forgot this. Okay, so because I was feeling so much stress at the end of last week, I'm like, I need something fun that I can focus on that won't take too much energy, right? Too many spoons, as they say. So my kids and I invited my mom over and we planned a little tea party and we went all out. I don't have like one of the tiered plates. We just made it work. Like it was an eclectic tea party. I had 2 teapots. My kids actually don't like tea, so they drank raspberry lemonade. My mom and I had black tea in a fancy teapot with fancy teacups that none of them matched. We had scones and clotted cream that my mom bought from a specialty store because they don't sell clotted cream here except in like special places. And then my son made brownies and we made open-faced tuna sandwiches, cucumber sandwich. You gotta have your cucumber sandwich, right? And we had little mini muffins. We just made all these little, I have a friend who lives in England and she says she calls them fancies. I was like, I love that. So we made all these little fancies and we had a little tea party I put a tablecloth on the table, which I don't do very often or, only for special things. And it was fun and it gave us something like real life to do that wasn't like a huge big production, right? We threw the whole thing together in a day and it was just really fun. So I'm trying to look for more opportunities to do things like that. Anyway, it's getting late here and I should have started dinner a couple minutes ago. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off and I'll probably edit this later tonight. I don't know if I'll get it up tonight or tomorrow because a lot of times I film, edit, and upload in the same day, but sometimes it has to roll over to the next day. Until the next time, guys.